It's my birthday, and we're predicting what's going to be happening by my next birthday in 2026.
And we have an excellent tool so that you can look ahead to next year as well and look at what your keto or carnivore journey might be looking like.
Actually, it could be inspired by a certain quality of carnivore, but you could apply it generally in your life.
Well, I'm JJ. I am a life coach and I eat mostly meat.
I'm Eric. I'm a novelist and I eat mostly meat. So today is my birthday. I'm 55 in about an hour.
Yeah.
But yesterday I was doing a little journaling. We had the day before done a blood draw quest.
Blood draw date.
Yeah, it was a blood draw date.
Where we both went.
They took like 10 vials out of me. I won't get the results for a couple of weeks because they do a Cleveland Heart Health thing and they've got to send that out and there's a backlog. So I won't even get the results. But I was thinking I was going, you know what? I don't have a sense for what they're going to show. I just know that I've been in this phase of really focusing on better ketosis. I have a different diet formulation than I did the last time that I had a blood draw back in, I don't know, June or something. And I've been doing a little more exercise. Sleep has been somewhat better. I'm like, what I should do is have a better idea of what those numbers are going to be. Why don't I know what my trigs and HDL, why don't I know what they're going to be?
Based on what you're doing.
Based on what I'm doing, why don't I know within some very, very tight percentage what the numbers are going to be? And I threw up my hands and I said, all of medicine, all nutrition, all physiology, all of this science is so rudimentary. It's so early days. We know nothing about physiology in truth. Because if we knew anything, given what I eat and my other life habits, I should know in advance what the results are going to be. And when I get the results and something's not what is expected, it should point right at a lever or 5 or 6 levers that says, this is what's going on here. But worse, JJ, I'm getting mad.
I know, I can feel it.
Is that there is no expectation for any of our doctors or any of our experts to be able to take in our diet, our exercise, our sleep, our genome and go, okay, this is what you want that dashboard to show. They put the dashboard together based upon what, JJ? Populations of healthy people that they set the normal boundaries for. And we know this because we're carnivores and we deal with this all the time. It's like, well, that might be okay for regular people eating this sad diet, but for carnivores, the rules are different. And our blood numbers are different for reasons. And we like to comfort ourselves with that. And it's logical. I'm not even saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's reasonable, but we don't know. What we need, JJ, is a raft of healthy carnivores to draw blood from and say, what does their blood look like? And how does my blood compare to those carnivores at my age with my genetic differences? They can't do it. There is no predictions for an individual in this racket. And so where's the science? The science is only at the population level and it's only in probabilities. Now, if you are doing Newtonian physics and you're launching a cannonball, you're not calculating the probability of it hitting a target. You're hitting the target. That's science, and that's not even right. Newton was only right within a frame. So I got upset because I was like, how can we be in 2025? We live in science fiction times. Everything after 2000, we're in science fiction land from the point of view of Gen X or anybody older than that. And here we are, this body is a chemistry set that we know a lot about. And you can go down any number of metabolic specialties. Dr. Bickman, a professor at BYU, he knows a ton about all of these hormones and chemical cascades that happen in the cells, and he can't predict anything about anyone.
As he always says, in the lab.
Yeah. because that's the best they can do is isolate a couple of these little reactions and go, well, this happens and then this happens. And then downstream of that, tons of different things happens. And then it feeds back into 20 different other things. And so who knows? And then we have our wonderful cast of low carb influencer researchers and docs who know a lot. I'm trying to not discredit any of them. They know a lot, but they don't really know what's happening at that level. And they can't predict what's going to happen for you. And it really woke me up. I was like, I have no idea what my LDL is going to be. Do I care? Kind of. Do I care what my small LDL is going to be? Well, I kind of care more about that. I don't know. I've done everything I can that should kind of hit the billiard ball in a way that makes that number lower, which would give me comfort. I still don't know if it would make any difference. And the same billiard ball thing I'm doing is trying to lower my LDL, not my LDL, my triglycerides. And I would take comfort if they were below 100, because that's apparently good.
At the population
level. And I have a more reasonable expectation about blood sugar or A1C or insulin, but it's not because of what I'm doing. It's because of the results I got in the past. So basically everything I know about what's going to show up in my labs is an expectation against what I've already seen in labs prior.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't just go into it with no knowledge of the person's history and just observe what they do day to day and eat and predict with accuracy their results. And then there's the whole question, JJ,
mm-hmm.
Is that dashboard of blood results, blood markers, of any value at all?
And we get a lot of viewers who question that as well.
It seems like identifying type 2 diabetes is pretty important. It seems like there's things where you get into disease states where it's like, oh, that's not this arrangement of these dials seems like the plane's upside down and headed towards the earth. So as from a pilot perspective, you'd go, we better get the horizon line back where it belongs. And that makes sense. That's only like with things that are way out of line, but it should be able to be down to like very tight prediction if it's truly well-controlled, understood science where you actually know how the whole mechanism works.
So what are you doing with this realization?
I'm being mad and I'm good at it. So as I look forward to my birthday next year in 2026, what predictions can I make? What do I really know about my trajectory in life? And you've seen me many times do the year-end goal setting
mm-hmm.
and the life review.
Mm-hmm.
There's tons of YouTubes about this, and a lot of people really enjoy this. I used to be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I would always do this, like write all my accomplishments and write all the good things, the things that didn't quite go as well, really take stock. The goal setting was necessary back in the business days. And one of the innovations we made then was introducing this 3-pronged approach to life business planning. And it was stop, start, continue. And the most innovative part was the stop and continue. Because always planning for the new year, we get excited about starting new things and taking on new goals and new endeavors. But it does require us to look at what are we doing today and up until then that we need to stop doing in order to create the time, the space, the resources to start the other things.
Right, because you can't just keep adding on starts. Ad nauseum. Just I'm going to start.
Well, think about it in terms of carnivore. Carnivore is all about stop.
Yeah.
That's why one of the reasons why it's so powerful. It's an elimination diet. It's a stop diet. It actually creates time
mm-hmm.
and resource, and it stops the inflow of toxic, destructive, disease-making poison. The power of carnivore is to stop.
Mm-hmm. It is, yeah. I know when you stopped a lot of the plant materials, you had a really big benefit right away.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously the grains were the worst. The sugar was terrible and very inflammatory. But even those stalks, the stalks, I want to pronounce the L, the stalks of the broccoli, the stalks. I didn't eat very much celery. The stalks of that nasty asparagus thing you made with the cream zhuzh on it to try to make it palatable.
Well, yeah.
The stopping was very beneficial for all the inflammation and all of the reflux and IBS and stuff.
Allergies for me. Yeah.
But what you do start with carnivore is more meat, more fat. And those are also extremely beneficial because the fat's important for their hormones and for energy. The protein maintains our muscle mass.
And we didn't start beef. It's not like beef wasn't ever in our diet, but beef was in our diet, I don't know, maybe once a week, once every other week. Like that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of other different types of meats.
Chicken.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pork.
And I don't think it was on, like, we weren't consciously like, oh, we need to eat the low fat meats. It's just how we evolved to eat throughout the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you learn that the chicken's, low fat. And so it's healthier, which, it's basically just a bird rat, right? There is some starting with carnivore, but it's a lot of stopping. So that's, I think, why it's so powerful.
I'm thinking of the space it creates in life too, because we stopped a lot of grocery shopping in other aisles that took up time. And we stopped, me at that time, stopped preparing all these different side dishes. Things got a lot simpler and freed up a lot of space mentally and in terms of time.
The continue is an important part as well, because it forces you to look at what your day-to-day processes are and cycles are and take a close look at them and say, do I want to continue these patterns? Do I want to keep doing these things? Well, now 3 years carnivore, it's like, well, I know a lot of people wouldn't consider what I eat carnivore because I do have an avocado and I do have kimchi and stuff. I get it. I view carnivore as the center of the circle, and then I eat in the next ring out a little bit because I can. And I can do it and stay in ketosis because fundamentally my shift this year was from thinking in terms of carnivore to thinking in terms of keto carnivore. And that was revolutionary for me.
Yeah.
It was important for me. And I'm going to continue down the keto carnivore path because I think it's the most beneficial for my health and my well-being. But there's a lot of stuff outside of diet that this stuff applies to. For instance, in terms of health and vitality, exercise is important. And I had done some sprinting this year, and I've done a lot of tonal sessions this year, but it was not as consistent as previous years. I had some energy issues. I had some muscle issues. And I do believe as a consequence, I have lost some muscle mass. And at 55, you can't be losing it. It's got to be maintaining. I think with carnivore and the protein intake, I can fight back some of it. We'll see. That's my aim this year, is to fight back and gain some. But my approach to exercise, it cannot continue the way that it was. And I want to view my resistance exercise as a form of play rather than this sort of self-punishment thing I've got to endure. And to get back to play, I'm getting back to kettlebells, which I love and used for a long time. Used to go to a kettlebell gym 45, 50 minutes away from where we used to live. I did that 3 times a week because I loved it so much. I got a lot of great coaching, so I think my form is reasonably good. But what I like about it is that it's a skill practice. It's not just lifting the weight. There's form and skill and technique that they're crucial because you can really hurt yourself, especially with something like a Turkish get-up, where you're starting on the floor, standing up and getting back down on the floor, and you're holding a weight over your head. but I love doing those.
Mm-hmm.
They're really satisfying, and they work the entire body. They really work the central nervous system in a great kind of way. And I'm like, why haven't I been doing these? These feel great. So I'm excited to get back into that.
Part of this new way of doing things also came from an epiphany, because yes, you had energy issues this year and you had some muscle issues this year. And while you do need to have self-care and take care of those and not move into your punishment cycle that you've done sometimes in the past, you realize that if you weren't careful and stretching the body out of its comfort zone a little bit, that you were inadvertently training your hormones and your mitochondria to sort of stay in that low energy state rather than building up new systems that were more resilient.
Yeah, that's true. This reminds me of, was it Katie Bowman? She was a movement kind of guru. She had a couple of books that we got. And she was on a podcast and she talked about our homes, our chairs, our sofas are casts. And like you put a cast on your arm when you have a broken bone, they're like cast. And the more time you spend in it, the more your body is cast into that shape, which is why she didn't have furniture. She'd always sit on the floor and stuff.
Yeah.
I tried it for one day. I'm like, I'm not cut out for this. My body's already casted into slouching. But I mean, her point was well taken. And what and not only does our body take the form of that cast, but our whole metabolism, all of our chemistry takes the shape of our habits. You can start to feel fragile in a certain way or vulnerable. And so you want to protect that vulnerability so you'll make it worse. And in the process, you become more fragile and more vulnerable because you're not putting enough pressure and challenge on the systems that are bothering you. But tuning how much challenge to give it is tricky, especially for someone who wants to hit it with a hammer, really go hard on it and punish it and test it when that's not the appropriate challenge.
Or thinks they're going light, but they're really not.
Yeah. That is a problem where you have a frame of reference of how you used to train.
Yeah.
And then you go in and like, I'm going to knock out a good session the way that I did 10 years ago. And you're going to be feeling every one of those 10 years in your body the next morning because you've been deconditioned so much. Every year that goes by, I'm astonished by how quickly cardiovascular conditioning vanishes. If I'm not out doing long walks or rucks or being active, doing some sort of physical activity, and then I get back into it, I get short of breath. It's like, where did it go? Where did my conditioning go? Well, it's in the sofa behind you where you left it. Your conditioning is in the cracks of the sofa. That's where it gets lost, along with a lot of chip crumbs and dimes. And the way to not have that happen is don't sit there. Don't sit there and lose your vitality in the cracks of the cushions of the sofa.
So one other thing I did want to bring up, you've mentioned what you want to start. There's a whole lot of continue. And I think that really has been the power for us to stay on this mostly meat-based diet, is that it's a whole lot of stop at the beginning, and then it's a whole lot of continue. We are 3 years in.
Yeah.
And the continue just keeps going because it is sustainable. And you've mentioned in the past self-correcting in a way. Like I said, a lot of those stops we've done along the way have been very natural because we were like, this doesn't thrill me anymore. And the continue just has become a way of life. And it wasn't hard. I really want to put it that way. It wasn't hard. I think it seems like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. It's hard. And it just wasn't. Do you have any prediction you want to make? You said you think you'll be this way, that way. Or yeah.
If we do a video around or on my birthday of 2026, maybe we'll look back at this one and we'll look back at my predictions. I'm going to say I'm going to weigh 175 body fat according to my scale, 15%, which is kind of a goal, but also kind of a prediction. And then if I remember, we'll try to coordinate blood labs to be around that time. And my triglycerides will be 100 or less.
Mm.
My HDL will be 70 or higher.
That would be great.
And
we think.
Well, I've been into 65, 67 recently, so I think that's achievable.
Okay.
I don't know what I can do about it, but I'm optimistic.
Just the continue, I think, is what will do it.
I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to predict that this time next year, we have 7,500 subscribers. And right now we're at 4,200.
Okay. Woo.
So we got some work to do.
We do.
I think we can do it.
We do. We have some work.
We could do it by the end of the year.
Well,
do you have any predictions?
Well, I've got a prediction.
Okay.
That this time next year,
Mm-hmm.
we will be every day stronger.
Every day more blessed.